tag I'm in. Well, hello there, everyone. I'm back with another video. I was looking for a topic idea for my next video. I saw a few people who had done this tag, so I wanted to give it a shot. Seemed very easy. It seemed like a good one to do before we get too far into 2023. So this is the PostScript tag for the year of 2022. I wasn't tagged by anyone, I just did it myself. So without further ado, let's get this party started. The first question is the longest book that I read, or the longest book that it took me to read in 2022. The longest book technically that I read last year was Wizard and Glass by Stephen King. I didn't count the pages or the word count. Maybe I'll put that on a graphic here. But it was the longest book that I read. The longest book that it took me to read last year. Kind of a tricky one. There were a couple different books that took me around 3 or 4 weeks each to finish off and on. But for going from the time that I started the book that it took me to finish, I'm gonna cheese and say the answer is my big book of Poe. This, I started that in June of 2020. Then I read like the first story, and then I stopped reading completely until the end of 2021. Then I didn't pick this back up until probably February of last year. Then I finished it at the end of February 2022. So that is by far the longest that it took me to finish last year, even if I didn't start it last year. So that is my pick. Number 2 is a book I read in 2022 that was out of my comfort zone. Kind of like this question. I'm going to go with Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. It's mostly just because the postmodern approach to writing was very off-putting to me. That's not one that I really have read too much of before, and one that took some getting used to. It's not, the subject matter isn't that extreme or anything. It's just a very different writing style, so it would definitely qualify for putting me out of my comfort zone, I think. The next question is, how many books did I reread in 2022? The official number is 10. That includes the Harry Potter series, book 1 of Dark Tower of the Gunslinger, The Hobbit, and To Kill a Mockingbird. And my favorite reread of last year, I liked all of them really. I think the best one is probably To Kill a Mockingbird, but my favorite reread of last year was probably Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Not my favorite book, but one I enjoyed a lot more the second time around, maybe. I don't know, my rankings are weird, so. A book I read for the first time last year that I look forward to rereading in the future. I'm gonna go with Fahrenheit 451 by Mr. Ray Bradbury, who has become one of my favorite authors in the past 12 months. I could reread pretty much anything from him, but I think Fahrenheit 451 would be the most beneficial. This is the first one of him that I read. I wasn't quite sure what to expect from him, but now I know more of his style. I think rereading this will be quite fun. Plus it's got a good message to it, which is always relevant, so I think it's a good way to go. 6 is a favorite short story or novella that I read in 2018. And to be honest, I don't always know the difference between short stories and novellas. But I think for this one, my answer is very easy to decide. This is again by Ray Bradbury. This is Usher 2. So this is a short story that was in the Martian Chronicles. And I'm not going to say what it's about because it's a short story, but it is very fun. It contains a lot of references and homages to Edgar Allan Poe and his work, which I also read in 2022. and I'm a big fan of. So reading that was just a very big delight. Very good. A very fun story. Also includes a lot of opinions on censorship, as well as Fahrenheit 451 does. But if you're a fan of Edgar Allan Poe and you haven't read Usher 2 by Ray Bradbury, I think you need to check that out, because I'm hoping you will have as much fun with it as I did. So that would probably be my favorite short story from last year. Number 7 is Mass Appeal, a book I read last year and would recommend to a wide variety of readers. This is White Fang, one of my favorite books that I read last year. I think a lot of people would enjoy this. I think a lot of children read this, although it does have some darker subject matter in it. I think it is good for all ages. It's good for dog lovers, it's good for animal lovers, it's good for pretty much anyone. I'm not a dog person myself, and I even love this book. So I feel comfortable in recommending this book to pretty much anyone. Number 8 is Specialized Appeal, a book that I read but would be hesitant to recommend to anybody else. This one is a bit tougher. I could go with some of the Dark Tower books, more specifically some of the later ones. That kind of depends on how the reader feels about the first couple of ones in the series, so it's kind of a weird situation there. I think I'm going to go with something by Dostoevsky. I don't think the Russian classics are something that everyone will be able to get into. They are quite a bit slower, at least the ones that I've read so far, and they make you take your time to read them. You have to give it a lot of thought. So I think I'm going to go with either Notes from Underground or Crime and Punishment as the answer here. They're very similar stories in terms of themes and subject matter and characters. So I'm just going to choose them both. Plus one is a short novella and one is a novel. So I don't feel too bad about including both here. I did quite enjoy both of them, as well as everything else that I've read from Dostoevsky so far. But I don't think that everyone will be able to attach themselves to the characters as much as I have. So that's why I'd be a little more hesitant to recommend these books to anyone. And then number 9 is just to reflect on my year as a content creator person or whatever. I don't know, I kind of did that already in my yearly wrap-up thingamabob. It's kind of a weird year, one that I was not expecting to have. But it was an interesting year, and yeah, I don't know. I didn't really have any goals or anything like that, so I didn't meet any of those, obviously. I don't really have a favorite video that I made. The one that I did about the 1001 books you must read seems to be the most popular of my videos. Whether it's the best one or not, I don't know. But that one was quite fun, so I guess I can say that was probably my favorite video from last year. And then the last question is just to tag people, but I'm not doing that. So basically, if you have a channel on YouTube and you haven't done this tag yet, then officially you have been tagged by me, so there you go. Anyways, that is the end of this video. That is my, what's this called? PostScript tag for 2022. So the video has reached a good conclusion here. Now the question is, will I come up with a good way to end it, or will it just casually fade to